Last week, I introduced you to my new Dodge Viper. Today, I'm going to show you its quirks. There are many. Now, if you were like me, you were probably thinking the Viper didn't really have any quirks, just a big engine and a whole lot of power. But actually, there are some unique pieces of charming character, like a little puppy that barks at plums. For more of my thoughts, click the link below to check out my column on autotrader.com/oversteer. Now, let's start in back. My favorite quirk is the brake lights. Of course, there's one brake light on one side and one brake light on the other side, just like in a normal car. But the third brake light isn't just some random light in the middle of the window. Instead, it's the Viper logo. What is this car? Viper. What is this car? Viper. What is this car? Viper. Another great rear quirk is something I did myself. I went in to register the car at the DMV last week and the clerk said, "Do you want to get the Conserve Wild Resources license plates?" I drive an 8-liter V10 car with 450 horsepower and an EPA rating of 11 miles per gallon. So yeah, of course I did. And so my license plate has a hopeful-looking river otter on it. While we're in back, another interesting quirk that'll probably freak you out unless you've owned one of these before, in which case you'll find it totally normal, the tires. The Viper has a very unusual rear tire size, 335 width, but only 17-inch wheels. Naturally, nobody makes this tire anymore. So I scoured eBay, and finally I found a new set for $663 per tire. Next up is the windshield wipers, which for some reason operate one at a time. The only comparison I can make is it's like I dream of Jeannie right before she activates her magical powers. The other crazy thing about the front of the Viper is the lack of an interior hood release. Let me repeat that. There is no interior hood release. It's only exterior. In other words, if you're ever walking through a parking lot and you spot a Viper and you want to check out that sweet V10, it's just one latch here and one latch here and you're in. Be careful when you're opening the hood though. I'm told a new one is $15,000. Now let's talk about the doors. For some reason that's completely beyond me, they open electronically, which means that if your battery dies, there's only one way in. You have to use the key to open the back hatch glass, then climb into the car and pull the emergency interior door release, which is mechanical. Otherwise, you're screwed. Or you could just wait and hope that some helpful passerby comes along and opens up the hood and puts in a battery on his own. Speaking of the doors, here's another great quirk about this car. Nothing can be closed normally. You have to slam the rear glass. You have to smash the doors. You have to really push on the hood to get it closed. I get the sense that this car wants you to be as masculine and brutish as it is, otherwise it won't respect you. Inside, a couple of weird quirks stick out, one of which literally sticks out. It's the parking brake. I mean, look at this thing. It's probably the least disguised interior accessory ever. You've got normal interior, normal interior, normal interior, and then, giant parking brake sticking out from the middle. Another thing that people are finding weird is that the Viper's seatbelt comes from the center and not from the door pillar, which means that when you climb inside the driver's seat, you reach over your right shoulder to put on the seatbelt, which takes some getting used to. So that's it. Those are most of the Viper's crazy quirks. To get more of my thoughts on them, click the link below to check out my column on autotrader.com/oversteer. And don't forget to follow along on Twitter and on Facebook because I leave tomorrow for my crazy 6,000-mile epic Aston Martin road trip across the country. Viper. What is this car? Viper. What is this car? Viper.